Good to see a few people out on the beach. You know, if the government really cared about people's health, rather than the BBC piece that I'm just about to show, they would be more likely to say, it's a sunny day, at least in the south of England, get out and get your vitamin D naturally. But does that happen? Okay, this is news from February the 5th. Today, COVID vaccines extremely safe, finds UK regulator. Now bear in mind, this UK regulator is the one that passed them as being safe. So there's a potential conflict of interest there, because if you've said something's safe and it turns out not to be, you're in trouble. So it assessed the safety reports. Some 22,820 suspected reactions were reported. Okay, almost all cases were mild. I'm not actually going to read out when they say something which I don't think is really true, because I don't want to lend my speech to it. They, according to the BBC, received 101 allergy-related reports. It's hard to know whether that's part of the 22,800 or not. They say this. So unexpected here. Well, you could just say no serious reactions, but for some reason this unexpected is in there. So that sort of qualifies it a bit, doesn't it, legally? This strong evidence I would like to see, because I haven't actually seen any of that. So going on down, yellow card schemes designed to pick up various things that 1 in 10 people have these common reactions, but we don't know degree, do we? Because I've seen a testimony of someone who broke a tooth with the shaking so much. So this is extraordinary. As expected, when you track any population over time, this isn't any population and it's not being tracked. This is a group of people who have been injected with experimental biodevices. And there are reports, so it's not anybody's tracking them, there are reports being given to the MHRA to say that there have been deaths. And the figure given here is 143. Why the BBC feel compelled to add among the millions vaccinated, one can only assume because they're trying to play that number down. Should be a full stop right there. So, oh, look, a bit of opinion here. This bit here. Or in any way linked. Well, there's one link, and that link is that those were all reported connected with the vaccination. It's not just a random population. These are people filing reports. So it is simply not true to say that they are not linked in any way. Whether they are the primary cause is another question. But to claim they're not linked in any way is simply not true. 75 reports of facial paralysis or weakness. I mean, you know, conditions can occur naturally, but that's not what people are reporting here. Oh, but it's a sort of similar, they're saying. I can't give my voice to this, but I think you get that picture. So bear in mind this headline. If it was balanced reporting, this figure, which is buried, you see, look how far you've got to go down to find the figure of deaths. That's a long way down the article, isn't it? If it was balanced reporting, the same way that COVID deaths have been reported, it would be here. That figure would be here. It would say, well, something very different to that, wouldn't it? this is propaganda. If you just look at this, not alarming or worrying. Well, do you want to ask the families? Or, I mean, it's just take yourself to the tragedies of people. I've seen some of the testimonies from people working in care homes about finding people unresponsive and the situations that preceded their deaths. And it's all one thing for the BBC to report what these people are saying, the people who said it was safe initially, but there are no quotes from anybody connected with any of those deaths. And this is one of the problems. The bias is outrageous. So this is a lovely website. What do they know? This is an FOI, Freedom of Information request, to do with pathogenic priming as a cause of death from December to the end of January. And well done, Helen Wood. You're an angel, because you're really being clear and asking the MHRA what data is held to date on deaths as a result of pathogenic priming due to COVID-19 vaccination. Specifically, anyone dying within 28 days of having the injection. What's being done to track and investigate possible pathogenic priming. How many nursing home residents have died to date within 28 days of having a COVID vaccination? That's a really important question. That's one question. Then in any of these deaths, has pathogenic priming from COVID vaccination been determined as a possible cause of death or ruled out? The problem is you need to be so clear with these types of regulatory agencies, because if they can wheedle out of answering a question, they will. So the shorter the question, the better. How many residents of residential homes have died to date within 28 days of a COVID vaccination? Full stop? Question mark. Yeah, that's a great question. Similar as before, isn't it? Well done for asking, Helen. And you can go on to the What Do They Know website and ask to be kept informed. So this is the reply, which is on the 29th of Jan. It's being handled under the Freedom of Information Act. So let's see what happens there. This is really important work, because the MHRA was supposed to be transparent about the data they're receiving. So we don't want any redacted reports. We'd actually like the raw data, which when the VAERS system in the States started to release, alarm bells rang, serious alarm bells. These things are quite important. This is the Royal Institution. Science lives here. So on Thursday, the 25th of Feb, they've got a talk. Now, I discovered this talk because of something that I saw on Twitter posted by one of the speakers, this Abigail Thorne. She was very excited. She either mentioned conspiracy theorists or anti-vaxxers, so you can kind of tell what her position is. So there's this, just have a look at this. So they're going to discuss how vaccines work, why people are sceptical despite the evidence. So you've got a bit of a conclusion already drawn there, haven't you? And how disinformation about vaccines spreads online. It's going to be chaired by this lady, and look, it's challenging pseudoscience. The group at the Royal Institution are also going to partner there. So challenging pseudoscience. So we can assume they've already drawn a conclusion there as well. So when Abigail posted her of being a speaker on Twitter, I said, why are these events when anti-vaxxers and these discussions and studies of anti-vaxxers, don't they actually ask an anti-vaxxer to speak? Because I didn't say this on Twitter, well, I think I did actually, I will now classify myself, because the umbrella has become so broad, I will say, yep, okay, I'm an anti-vaxxer. So can we have a voice then? And people said, no, you can't go. This was honestly what people said on Twitter. You can't go because the Royal Institution is a place of science and you anti-vaxxers aren't scientific. So I said, well, the thing is if a scientific place is supposedly going to study something, to refuse to allow that something into the place of study isn't very scientific, is it? Anyway, I would suggest, if you feel inclined, if you can kind of cope with it, I'm not sure how much fun it's going to be, you can book tickets online, surprisingly. So, yeah, it's online, and maybe a few people might ask about the science on pathogenic priming.